Uh, so that topic, I have seen that topic, and when I kind of got that topic, felt like that it was a MBA assignment. And I really don't know what I can actually talk about that particular topic in general. But we have been building this company for last 12 odd years. So what I would like to do is that maybe take you through that journey, take you my own journey, and try and correlate that how people and culture have played an absolutely important part in the way we have grown as an organization. So we are called Rebel Foods. Earlier, we were known as Fasos. A lot of you would have seen small, hole-in-the-wall shops serving Calcutta-style rolls, and that's what we started as. A typical, I'll say, roadside joint, which was trying to go ahead and change the way Indians consume. And one of the biggest reasons we did it was that we have been once we were growing up, and the only things we could see was maybe a McDonald's or a Domino's or maybe a coffee, a cafe coffee day or a barista. But even though our cuisine is so diverse, so beautiful, but we don't have chains. We don't have anything which is served across the board. You might get a Subway here and there. You might get a Domino's, and that's where it kind of struck us that let us do something which all of us enjoy, but we do not get at a scale, we do not get it everywhere. And that's how the story started. And we started as something called Fasos. It was just wraps and rolls. Today we are Rebel Foods. We have multiple brands in our portfolio today. And that's the journey I would talk about, that how did that happen? And when that happened, how did we change as an organization? Before that, I'll just give a brief introduction about myself so that you understand that I'm not a Puritan HR as you would say. I would like to think of me as a general problem solver, trying to do something which works for the organization. And if that means that I need to focus on people and culture side of it, so be it. If I need to solve supply chain, then so be that. So that's what I have been doing. So I'm an engineer, a very typical background, worked with Tata's post my engineering, did my MBA from an IIM, as people would do, because India mein do I laga lo naam ke aage, to life seems to be slightly better. So ended up doing that. And when I graduated, it was the time of financial meltdown of 2009-10, took the first job on the campus, कि जो लेके चला जाएगा ठीक है, and ended up in HR. Okay, of all the people, I ended up in HR, and the only thing which a 23-year-old me knew was कि HR में काम कम करना पड़ता है, so I ended up doing HR, कि चलो HR करेंगे, got into Infosys, and I'm telling you, I got into talent acquisition. They kind of put me into hiring B-schoolers, and that's a juggernaut which keeps on hiring. अगर कोई बोलता है कि HR में काम कम करना पड़ता है, तो I'm sorry. That kind of illusion went away within first 15 days. I realized that there is a company which is supposed to be 5 days working. You are working 7 days a week. Traveled maybe 80, 90 cities in the country. I ended up hiring, I think, 5,000 odd MBA graduates over course of 2 or 2.5 years. And that's when I thought that this is enough. I have done this enough. Way back 2012, nothing used to exist as we know today. There was no Amazon in India, no Uber, no Swiggy. Zomato was a delivery platform not a delivery platform, mind you, was a discovery platform from restaurants. So world was a very, very different place. And I did not know that if you do HR for 2 years, then you are tagged as a HR in Indian corporate ecosystem. So I would apply for a supply chain job or a marketing job at a Unilever or a P&G or anybody else. They will say, "Lekin aap to HR karte ho." So, and that's how Fasos happened. Okay, so Jaideep, who started Fasos in 2011, he also realized that if I have to kind of make this through, I need similar people like me to make this happen. Because he tried to work with maybe industry experts like chefs or BD experts who know how to do real estate. He realized that him being also an engineer and an MBA, ki ye log jo bhasha bolte hain and what I say does not make any sense at all. He was just not able to kind of make things work. And that's how 3-4 of us came on board. And that's how the journey started for me. And I still remember, I took my car from Bangalore, drove all the way to Mumbai and said, ki, "Theek hai, let's do this. Let's figure out what we are going to do." And next 45 days, I was driving back from Mumbai to Bangalore and opened Bangalore for Fasos in 2013, early March. And over course of time, as the things would change, I ended up doing supply chain, setting up the supply chain from scratch. And few of these brands, I kind of, not few, I'll say most of these brands, I saw them being born in front of my eyes, was very, very closely associated with them, and ended up doing things which I would believe today in hindsight, a people manager should be doing in real world. And that's what I would like to talk about. So this is what we are trying to build. Simple idea being taking the brands which people love in every possible manner, wherever the customers are. I see that's a statement which you put out for people to read, but simple thing being that you love a brand that needs to be available across the board, whether you are in a Delhi or a Mumbai or a Nasik or a Coimbatore. Our mission is that either we do that on our own or we partner with somebody who does that. So that's why there are brands in our portfolio which are homegrown, created by us. But then there are partnerships where we work with brands like Naturals Ice Cream, Mad Over Donuts, your Daryaganj of the world, and take them to multiple locales. So how did it all happen? I would not kind of talk much about it. Just a single thing that over course of time, everything which we see today, most of the big-ass organizations have been taken over by internet-first companies. And the way we are seeing things evolve in last couple of years, you would see a different paradigm maybe by the end of 2025 or next 1 or 2 years. Food is the only place where today the most valuable company is still McDonald's. It's almost at, I think that their most recent valuation might be $180 billion. And that's where nobody on the side of internet has come and has been able to challenge them. If you look at maybe the hotel industry, then Airbnb has come and disrupted that totally. It doesn't mean that Marriott stops to exist. We are in a hotel which is a 5-star property. So I can't say that they don't exist anymore. But when internet comes, it supersedes the growth you have been having for multiple years. But food is also a business which not only requires internet, you can still not download food, luckily. So that is still not possible. But at the end of the day, this has to be combined with technology, internet, and a robust on-the-ground model for anybody to go ahead and disrupt. If you look in the history, the first restaurant came back in 1694 in France, and that restaurant is still existing. But that mode of you or us going, sitting down, eating, and having still exists today. But we thought that if we have to do something different, we'll have to do it in a different way, which makes sense to us. So I'm going to skip some slides so that we can make it in the time. So this is what we are trying to build, create technology as our base layer, whether it's back end or the front end. In the middle, get all the brands which customer love. And on the top, do the distribution in a manner wherever customer is there. So whether you are watching a Coldplay concert, then we would want to be there serving hot wraps to the customer. You are traveling via a train, we would want to tie up with IRCTC, and our food is available today on 80 stations. Then there is delivery network, which is across 100 cities. And as we kind of move into new age, there will be multiple other distribution channels which will be coming up. So this is what we are trying to build as an organization. But to build all of this, like we don't get to see how electricity runs through the wire, but you get to see the light kind of lighting up. Similarly, culture and people is something which you don't get to see on your day-to-day basis. What you get to see is that maybe a top line or a bottom line. You get to see that what this organization has done. These numbers are out. But we believe culture is something which is just like electricity running across the organization, and you get to feel it. It is just like the breeze. You don't get to maybe see it, but you get to experience it. And culture is something which, if not done in the right manner, would make or break a company. And I can maybe say all of this today, but in hindsight, we were not able to code this or say this in the similar manner. This is only over course of times that we have realized that, okay, this might be a certain code or certain set of, I'll say, behaviors which work for us as Rebel. So this, which you might see today on the presentation, would not be something which we realized while we were building the organization. And that is something which I want to tell everyone, because I truly believe that we are still learning. We make mistakes almost on everyday basis. So whatever I am saying today here might change a couple of years down the line. So that is something which we are evolving as a business. I am also evolving as a professional, as an individual. And that is something we believe is an innate part of how you build an org. And we are still very young, just 12 odd years. So whatever we might say today might change. But culture, if not done right, would really, really kill you, not only long term, but also in the short term. And we have gone through maybe a couple of those cycles internally when we realized that something was going wrong, and we had to take drastic steps to bring that back on the track. So this is something which we kind of talk about a lot. Again, a very basic example, but there was a time when there was no Henry Ford, there were no cars. So typically what you had to do is that you were using horses as a medium of transport. And if you had to maybe go somewhere faster, what you would do is that maybe you will put 4 horses in front of a buggy and say that, okay, now I'm running slightly faster. And that was an incremental change. Other thing what you would do is that maybe you will get Arabian horses in European mainland and say that they are the best horses, so my speed is increasing incrementally. But disruption never happens incrementally. Disruption happens when somebody comes and challenges the incumbent in a manner which has not been thought of before. And that's what cars did. And the first car, mind you, was slower than horse. First car broke down multiple times. First car was only available in black and remained available in black for almost 20 years. But it was a paradigm shift how humans transported from one place to another. And this is why you need a different bunch of people, different kind of a culture if you are trying to disrupt something. Again, I would say, this is something I'm able to say in hindsight. While we were doing that, we realized that, okay, we are a bunch of misfits trying to do something, but what exactly it was, I wouldn't have been able to comment on that at that particular moment in time. So this is what happens. So if we are trying to build and change food forever, we had to kind of do things in a different way. Again, a pic which we show to a lot of folks, and we say that, okay, if you want something, if you want a lot of love and care, if you want to be kind of taken care of like your mom would do, then we are not the place to be. See, we are trying to build a winning team. We are not trying to build a loving and doting family. And I just want to kind of spend 30 seconds talking about this. There's nothing wrong in having a loving, doting family as a corporate culture or as your organization's culture. But we believe that, like you would expect your favorite soccer team or maybe your Indian team to perform well always and always have the right people in there, we would also want our organization to have the right folks. Nowhere we are trying to say that we want to be bad to people, but we want to be very, very objective in our approach. Performance is something which is very, very objective in nature, and then there is some subtlety in values which you can observe via various mechanisms, and I would touch base upon that. But the idea here is that we are not trying to build a family, and that's what we want to keep telling people. A lot of people say in our office, or sometimes they end up saying this, I feel at home, I feel like a family at Rebel. That's not something which I would personally want to hear, that people say that. What we are trying to build is an all-round team which is able to strive in most stressful of the environments, and we are able to bring about a change. So, again, there is performance, and then there is a ways of working. What is performance is something which is very, very objective. As I told, top line, bottom line, what kind of cost you control. There are people in marketing. How many people your brand reached out to? Is there anybody better than you? But then there are certain ways of working which typically define how you are conducting your day-to-day things. If you are having a doubt that whether I am doing X or I am doing Y, which is the right thing to do. Those are the guiding lights, so to say, that if you had to do something, then what would you do? And I think that when both of these things come together, you end up making a culture. You end up kind of building a culture over course of time. So again, something which we codified over course of time. We were always talking about these things in our day-to-day working, but over course of time, we codified it. We figured out that what works for us. So as I said, so these are kind of 7 values which we talk about, and I'll tell you, few of these values, or most of these things actually did not exist for first few years. And we had to kind of go back and keep thinking about it again and again. We ended up writing few of these, and then we again changed them couple of years because we realized that, okay, maybe we were not able to codify things in the right manner the first time around. And again, as I told you, we are an evolving organization. If we say that, okay, these are the values which will always stay with us, again, they will not stay with us forever. The things might change, things might edit, we might add to something, we might subtract something. But what we believe is something super important are the first 2 ones where we say that, okay, customer first, and this customer can be in any shape and form. It can be your internal customer, very important for people like us. So whether it's our kitchen employees who are working across hundreds of locations, working day in, day out to ensure that when everybody is celebrating a festival, we are delivering hot biryanis to people, whether it's Diwali or a Holi, or whether everybody is celebrating New Year's Eve, we are up and running. So that is something which is there. So you have to be internal customer first as well as external customer first, and have your ownership of whatsoever you do. So even today, if there is a rider with us, a delivery boy with us, and he or she realizes that while delivering an order, he slipped and maybe he spilled something, those folks are completely empowered that you go ahead and commit 100% refund and give a free order. Because these things are nice to say, but if you don't empower people to actually do things which are customer first, nothing of it will come to life. So if you ask me that, Ankur, if there is somebody in Rebel, how would you kind of judge that whether this person is fit for being in Rebel or no? I would say that I will look for these 2 things. Some of these things you can ingrain over course of time, but I don't think that you can ingrain ownership over course of time. I've never seen that happen. I personally have taken those punts with my own hires, and I've always fallen flat on my face. It is either in you or it's not in you, or you would always say that, okay, it's 6 p.m., bye-bye, I am done. I'm nowhere asking you to work till 9 p.m., but I expect no matter where you are, if you're doing your work well, more than happy to let you do what you want to. But if you're not doing your work well, then please owe it up. And that's, I believe, there's nothing wrong in making mistakes. There's nothing wrong in being a failure or having a failure, but owe it up. And customer first, why? Because ours is a business which is where every order is a moment of truth. Every time you fly an airline, you might love Emirates or you might love Indigo, but one time they will screw you up and you will remember that. 100 times your flight is on time, you will not care about it because all of us believe that this is something which has to happen. But a business like ours, a business like airlines, every order, everything is a moment of truth. Because one time we screw up, and maybe let's say that there is a goof up, and instead of paneer tikka, you got a hara bara kebab, you'll say, "Bhai, mera to jeevana barbaad ho gaya." ठीक है? So the world changes, and I have seen food gets late. I personally have seen myself. I get hangry. I go nuts. कि ये कैसे लेट कैसे हो सकता है खाना? And with quick commerce, so I think that our need of instant gratification has moved to the next level. That 10 minute में नहीं आया तो कैसे हो जाएगा? So these 2 things which we believe are like really, really important. So all of the other things you can kind of build in people. And again, on customer first, I spoke about it. I will maybe skip few of the things. One thing which I would say on this is that when you are being customer first, the transparency thing which we are talking about, it's not only important for external customers, it's important for internal customers as well. And as far as ownership is concerned, it is also on the both sides. So just to kind of, how do you display, let's say, ownership towards your own employees? So a couple of years ago, what we did was, that we have almost 6,000 odd kitchen employees. We ensured that we gave employee stock options to each one of them. So they also feel that they have a skin in the game. Most of these folks do not understand what is the meaning of employee stock options. You can imagine these folks earning anything between 15 to 25K a month. But we made it a point that they get employee stock options. And whenever we do a buyback, which we do on annual basis, we show our ownership towards our employees and be transparent that, okay, XYZ is your thing. We have bought them on an online portal, etc., which is very, very difficult for us to make them understand. But that's the way you show your ownership. And what we have seen over course of times is that when you have your store managers, whom we call chief delight officers, when somebody comes and says that, okay, sir, last year, मैंने ना 1 लाख रुपए के ESOP बेचे थे, and I was able to buy a new bike for myself. And that has changed my life. That is something which would show that then you need not propagate anything to your employees. That person is your torch bearer. He is going to hold the beacon and saying that Rebel is somebody who has some ownership towards me. And that's how you are customer first in the ways of working as well. So we believe that it has to work both ways. We can do multiple things for our customers, and that's what we talk about again and again in our internal meetings. But equally important is that we are being 100% transparent, being employee first in that manner as well. Of course, like Spider-Man says that with great power comes great responsibility. We also believe that if there is that amount of transparency, if there is that amount of clarity given to each and every one, then you expect their actions be in line with the same. So I will not take much of the time. The clock has been showing me that I have exceeded it already by 2 minutes. This is something I'll skip quickly. So this is something which I already spoke about. Just will take a couple of minutes to do show a 2x2, which we typically use to look at individuals internally in the organization. So we say that performance is something which is black and white. You might have a target of maybe doing a 12 crores of sale in a quarter. You do 10 crore, XYZ is your achievement. But then there are values on which you are maybe evaluated on. So these value assessment, along with the performance assessment, is something which we believe is whether you are rewarded, whether you are kind of said that, okay, you did an average job and this is what you get, or whether you are shown the door because we believe that this is not something which is working out. And of all these three things which I'm talking about, being awarded disproportionately, or being kind of maybe giving an inflationary hike, or maybe being asked to move out, is something which we do with equal amount of transparency. It is important to celebrate the people who are distinctively doing well. But it is also equally important to give that feedback to people who are not doing well. You try and work with them. It's not that, okay, hire or fire culture. It is not like that we let go of people left, right, and center. But the idea is that feedback has to be transparent because these conversations can be difficult. And we have seen that managers typically tend to hide behind, nahi, nahi, ye to HR ne bola hai, ye to aisa hai, waisa hai. It does not work like that. If you're trying to build an organization which has to move over a course of time at a very quick pace, then you have to ensure that everybody is buying into that. So a very transparent feedback mechanism on whether you are doing good, bad, or ugly. And then there is something which we kind of do almost every quarter, is what we call is your experience at Rebel survey. So it's an 11 questions which we have kind of used maybe got some inspiration from Gallup survey. And that gives us insights on how our teams are performing at a larger level. So this is something which we look at it, the way we look at it. And we have also had certain people I would like to highlight who are absolutely kick-ass performers, but do not meet their values. They might be very cocky, they might be very snobbish, they might not be, let's say, that open to the feedback, and we call those folks brilliant jerks. So these people are amazing, they do great work, but these folks just are not able to build teams or might not be able to work in teams, might be doing some politics, bitching, whatsoever is going on. And these are the places where you have to take tough calls over course of time. So we had a couple of these. I would not be able to, but I can tell you, these are the most difficult folks to handle. These people who day in, day out will deliver your sales numbers, who day in, day out will crack new things for you, but they will slowly poison that pond, that river, because their behavior is like that. So please be very wary of these people. I'm sure that a lot of you would know that such people exist in every environment, but these are the people we believe that you have to weed out no matter what. And again, as I said, that nice underperformers are something which are great on values, maybe always performing well on values, but performance is not there. So great to have. Maybe they can be part of the family, as I spoke about, but they can't be part of the winning team. So that is something which I just wanted to share. And this is a slide which we actually, and this is a kind of a deck which we put it out everywhere. And we are very, very clear in putting out in any job posting or anything which goes out. We typically do not look at CVs. We specifically, if there are particular positions we are hiring for, we want to put it out that please write to us and explain that what is it which is making you apply to us. And if it does not work out with you, then it does not work out with you. Not everybody can be part of us, and we also appreciate that we might not be the right organization for everyone. But a culture which we believe is right for us has to move in a particular way, has to be done in a particular manner, and we are quite clear about it. Again, I will give my last TNC. This thing, over course of time, can change. We as an organization are evolving. There are things which we are also learning, and as the market changes, we will also change. If tomorrow, food delivery in 10 minutes becomes a norm, and we do not adopt that, then I believe that you guys will not be remembering the name of our brands at all. Then things would move on. So people who do not change with time, they are forgotten. So nothing here which I would say remains cast in stone, barring two things which I truly believe are super important for us, is a display of high degree of ownership, which means self-starter, taking decisions, and being customer first, or as we call it, crazy about customer experience. So these are the two things which I believe work for us and have worked for me personally also, while I have played multiple roles in the organization over course of time, started opening up the new cities, ended up doing supply chain and new product development. Even though I'm a vegetarian, I ended up developing Behrooz Biryani along with a team of chefs and worked on that extensively. Then got Wendy's from US to India and worked on that. And for last 2.5, 3 years, I'm taking care of the people and culture portfolio at Rebel. So I would apologize in case somebody did not find it interesting or it did not make sense as per the MBA assignment which was given as the topic. But I thought that I would like to share what I have seen in my journey over last 12 odd years, what we have been trying to build, and hopefully we have been successful in I'll say maybe partially successful in that. So that's what I want to leave all of you with. Thanks for the patient hearing. I know that it's the last session, almost 5 p.m. So thanks for the hearing, and best of luck to you all. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Ankur. Ankur, please stay with me for one more minute, if you don't mind. And can we have a thunderous round of applause for Ankur? Thank you for that very clear, concise, and honest presentation. I'm pretty certain that all of us as HR professionals in the room have a lot to take away. And Ankur, I'm asking you to stay back because since you're here and we're opportunists, we were running a social media contest all day, right?
Okay.
And I think we figured out who the champ is, and we would love for you to present the gift to our social media champ. Are you up for it?
Yeah, my
Okay,
pleasure.
so why don't you join me center stage? Our social media champ of the day, I really hope she is in the room. Mansi Thakkar, Head HR and Training Creative Labs. Mansi, that's you? Okay, please come on stage. Join us here. This gift hamper is yours. And Ankur, please present it to Mansi on behalf of People Matters. Social media champ ke liye zordar taaliyan, everybody. Come on. Okay, we've got our best shot. Congratulations, Mansi. Once again, yes, thank you so much, Ankur. Thank you. Have a phenomenal day ahead.